Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Hello and welcome to the Cafe Gallery. Hi there, everybody. I can't clap here. Hi. Gallery Cafe is a record from this insane heat. I cannot believe it. Oh my gosh. I want to thank every single one of you for coming out here, and I want to triple plus because really it's not actually Independence Day, 4th of July. It's actually Dan Cleary Day. So let's give it up for Dan for our great I didn't have red to wear, so I wear blue because it looks like tennis blue because Wimbledon's going on right now. I had to put that up. Not that anybody cares, but yeah, anyway. I thought I would read, and thank you, Gary. He's just so awesome. I'm sorry, I love hearing this music, I really do. But I was going to read one piece in here that actually relates to the starting of this country, I suppose. And I have no idea how to describe it other than the little jaunt that I explained to you. Some of you have heard this before, and it's called The State of the Nation. My phone rang earlier today, and I picked up the phone and I said, hello? And the man at the other end said, is this Janet Kuypers? And I said, yes it is, may I ask who's calling? And he said, yeah, hi, this is George Washington, and I'm sitting here with Jefferson and a few of us other guys, and we just wanted to tell you some stuff. And I'm like, why me? And he said, excuse me. I believe I said I was the one that was going to do all the talking. God, that is the problem with Americans nowadays. They're so damn rude. And I said, you know, you really didn't have to use language like that. And he said, oh, I'm sorry. It's just that I've been dead for so long. I lose all control of my manners. Well, anyway, as I said, we just wanted to tell you a few things. Now, I know we didn't have much of an idea of what we were doing when we started this country here, and I can understand how our Constitution could be misconstrued. And then he put in a dramatic pause, and he said, but when people had a right to bear arms, we meant to protect yourself from a government gone wrong, and that's so that you can kill a 16-year-old at an ATM at 6 p.m. for $20 cash. And when we said freedom of religion, we included the notion, the concept of separation of church and state, because freedom of religion could mean freedom from religion. And when we said freedom of speech, we had no idea that you'd be painting pictures of Christ doused in urine or photographing people with whips of their respective anatomies, or photographing, or having paintings of Christ doused in urine. But hell, I guess we gotta grin and bear it, because if we ban that, the next thing they'll ban is books, and we can't have that. And I said, but there are schools that have books banned, George. And he said, oh. Thank you very much. It's always interesting, fascinating to hear how music is done with stuff, but I like that piece. It just makes you feel good. There, and he says, oh, sorry. This one is entirely different because I have to do them because he's going to play the piano. I love it, I love it. This was written right around the time that my mother passed away. And it's called Your Soul is Shaken. Can you imagine a water glass filled with crystal clear water? And I don't know what an earthquake feels like, but imagine something that you have no control over starting to shake everything around you, and everything just starts shaking, and that water in that glass is rippling, and it's starting to splash in that glass, and you want to stop that damn glass to make sure the water stays in place, but you're shaking with that glass, and you don't want anything to fall apart, and you want to see everything around you, and it all just unexpectedly starts shaking, and everything's about to tear in half, and you watch the rippling of that water, and then you realize that your soul is shaking like that too. weekly in water. Thank you very much, Gary. I'm going to have to lick all the beer off my hand now. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, who should I call up? I love just being able to randomly pick, but I'll try to guess it in a relative order to who showed up. So I thank Mr. Weinberg because you're reading off of his stuff. Please give it up for Bob. Come on up here, Bob. I'll make my silly announcement because I say it in regular emails or whatever. We try to record the open mic and possibly have that as a podcast as well. If somebody says, "Dear God, I don't want to be video recorded," let me know and I'll make sure I'm not video recording you. But letting you know if you're interested, you always come bug for details about the podcast. Is he just standing behind me making faces? Or anyway, please give it up for Bob.
Thank you. Thank you. First I've been here about 20 years, so it's this poem I'm kind of excited about. I expect to be published in European Judaism, which I've had an association with this journal for many years. The poetry editor, her name is Ruth Fainlight, a remarkable poet in her own right. Linda Paston was published in this issue. I invite anybody who's interested to take a look. The poem is, read this for the very first time, 1955, an invocation. It has something to do with the Brooklyn Dodgers. You'll find out. There's a mixture of a few Latin words and a little Hebrew in it too. The Brooklyn Dodgers became non-solemn, not only world champions, sed etiam, but also rulers of the universe for 1 year only, during which time they performed mitzvahs on behalf of fans, whether or not they had rooted for Walter O'Malley's team during the '55 season. The mitzvah of showing other teams how to beat the Yankees, as if it were second nature. In those days, pre-Wartian wear, the Dodgers ironed their own traveling uniforms. Even as rulers of the universe, they employed no maidservants in hotels and cities through which they passed. In less than the twinkling of an eye, trousers would be pressed, which would keep their crease sliding home. Jackie Robinson, followed by Carl Scoonge Furillo, then Pee Wee Reese. Scoonge was a nickname for Furillo, which actually meant slow. And the next poem, which also I think will be published soon, Zinnias. And there's, I'm considering footnoting this, there's sort of an imaginary content. There's a very famous movie from the 1930s called The Grand Illusion. People have seen it, Bob's seen it, and there's like a dialogue between a German and a French, and the German said, "Boldu," he's going to shoot the guy, "Boldu, Boldu, please come down." And that's sort of the very end of the poem. We are considering footnoting. So let's see, I hope this, anyway, Zinnias. Zinnias. In my first invasion of the continent, I came unarmed to Paris in a nondescript arrondissement, in no way connected to famous monuments. I sniffed the ground for Nazi jackboots, in no way intending to follow the Führer's route beneath the Arc de Triomphe. The staging area for his one and only appearance in Paris was this arrondissement. Thus it has a certain notoriety. Zinnias, I kept expecting zinnias to appear, uncared for but certain of their existence, withstanding the seepage of industrial pollutants from a radiator repair shop, which has its own notoriety as a torture chamber during the occupation, more recently as a way station where stolen office supplies such as typewriters could be fenced by thoroughly bad boys, whom even the Foreign Legion considered incorrigible. Bordeaux, Bordeaux, for you this landmass of zinnias, one of the three tricolors fights against the Axis, also the exhaust of armored personnel carriers, and prevails gloriously. Transformations. Transformations shed lots of these poems. Tiny lumps on the sides of my head, not indicative of trauma or a disease like mumps. Too small to be discerned by medical observer with the keenest scan, They can be felt. I sense they're furry. Perhaps I'm turning into a doe. I vow to be first in my generation of does to go to college, go out for track and field. This is for people who've probably seen Here to Eternity. The main character is Robert E. of Montgomery Clift, who's Robert E. Lee Pruitt. So I put together here sort of a fictionalized character, Milton E. Lee Pruitt, and it's a very short poem. Milton E. Lee Pruitt, regimental boxer, corpsman on Guadalcanal, having survived the fight in which he vanquished Fatso. Political prisoners were released from the stockade. Prue laid a wreath on Corporal Maggio's grave before boarding the troop ship for the voyage over the Solomon Sea to Guadalcanal, dominion of the blood and sepulture. And the last line is Wallace Stevens, I put that in quotes. It's a very short little poem. And the last one I'd like to read, I've been reading these the last 3 or 4 readings. It's my favorite movie poem I've ever written, which ends on a fantasy about Jennifer Jones and the song of Bernadette. Yeah. Also, anybody here remember Jackie Cochran? She was a female test pilot, I think years ago, vis-a-vis the glass ceiling, you know, when most test pilots were men. She was probably one of the first female test pilots. So that, in the story we read about her back in high school, was called Traveling Upstream. So anyway, here's the poem. I don't love Lucy. I don't love Lucy, however I do love Paulette Goddard de Sholem and Joan Blondell in her role of Aunt Sissy and how in a tree grows in Brooklyn, not to be confused with How Green Was My Valley, though there are similarities in plot. I love Molly Picon for her cameo performance in The Naked City. She was considered the pint-sized Bernhardt because she was so tiny, though her performances could pack a wallop. Also Joan Blondell in Cry Havoc. Linda Darnell is the beautiful lady in the Song of Bernadette. In the junk belt surrounding Earth, the beautiful lady's mantle covers Bernadette's space capsule completely, protecting it from celestial buckshot. Although Bernadette was considered adult because she could never learn her catechism, she became an expert test pilot against all odds, traveling upstream like Jackie Cochran, prepping herself for the encounter with the Holy Spirit in deep space, her UPS functional. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, this heat just killed me. Hi, that was awesome. Thank you very much. You know, before I call up, I'm trying to remember, I think I might have to call up Elizabeth next, but I've got this happy, precious bag here, handed down to past wonderful drinkers. If everybody has all of the money they can, I'm going to see what I've got in my pocket before I pass this along to see. Oh. Yeah, well, I'm going to give, this is for a phenomenal feature for Dan Clear tonight, and just because, you know, he just went through some outpatient shit, I'm giving him more because he deserves it, so this is a lot, I'm throwing it over you. But ladies and gentlemen, next person up, Elizabeth. Where is my lady? Elizabeth, get on up here, right love.
Hi, I just came back from a wonderful conference in New Mexico, and one of the outputs of that was a brand new checkbook manuscript. So the poems I brought today were all from the new manuscript. The manuscript is called Ceremonies. Ceremonies. And this is, I can't see. 1. Never know if there is just one, and how dead it is. Did it die a week ago, or a former tenant ago? Died somewhere else, corpse moved to beneath my refrigerator? The shiny black and fuzzy brown beetle, not on my covered ceramic flour or white sugar jars. It's had a life, I need to know. 2. The scarred hand of a 4-year-old neighbor trusted me. let me take it and hold it till his mom came downstairs, looked up happy dance and smiled. They were going out, somewhere, just not the apartment, where his crying bounced off the pressing walls and his mother's voices answered. 3. The blue box key locked everything. All the exceptions and proxies to lead a somewhat registered voter to casting a ballot. All the helps in Chinese or Polish or Spanish or Bengali, depending on the precinct. The magnifiers or headphones or small folding chairs as well. The blue box held the promise of a new beginning. Things would be done right at $170 an hour per the time between AM pecan rolls and lunch. Janet so graciously reminded me it's not only Wimbledon but also the beginning of the Summer Olympics. Of Margaret Court and butterfly strokes. It should be simple. A tennis ball's arc. Oh, the rhythmic pulse of churning water from butterfly strokes. Each stroke a standard met through the live flesh of a woman athlete. Listen. They are arranging the brass now. Purcell strains run through national anthems. Oh, Margaret Court, where did your gaze fall? Does a simple act sanction your deadly return? As a girl, I was witness to your play. On the clay courts of Wimbledon, your home hard court Australian Open, your own Olympic appearance, no mean feat. Before her professional women's tour, before endorsements, Billie Jean King returned court's volley with a forceful backhand and character challenges which continue. I remember Heartland legislators raised the floor. No extramural girls' sports could damage girls' reproductive organs. Court would check a locker room gaze as sinful. On different sides of an Australian civil rights hearing, Billie Jean rose, then rose again. Her serve preceded her. This king loomed, a public figure, a role model. Each taught us pride in excellence, to play, to win. The circle dial of a diamond Movado, the arched support of a top athletic shoe, the glossy green four-color fashion campaign, brand names embrace the Union Jack's snap. Now watch Grand Slam champion Serena Williams, strained by chronic illness, her arms fall, failing, weary too soon, far away from center court, yet returning again and again. This one starts out with some quotes from a poem by Hazim Hikmet, things I didn't know I loved. Quote, flowers come to mind for some reason. And our train plunges on through the pitch black night. I never know I like the pitch black. Sparks fly from the engine. I didn't know I loved sparks. I didn't know I loved so many things. And I had to wait until 60 to find out, sitting by that window on the Prague-Berlin train, watching the world disappear as if on a journey of no return. 10 fingers over a rough palm. Blue clouds cloaked black night in its wash of fresh stars. Fingers once ever limber hesitate over a piano keyboard. Grasses beneath a milled-flora galaxy grow in all their varieties. Yellow mesa flowers with spots of periwinkle and red. A generous, detailed expanse. Ignored. Step away. How many different grasses can you count? I didn't know I loved correspondences. That prairie in Illinois, this grassland in New Mexico. Here, I expect Barbara Stanwyck to mosey on by, but it's only Taylor Swift. regretting her lost virginity, lost to a musician, no less. But this vendor of crystals would do Barbara proud, her leathery skin and fascination with everybody's story. She quarried her own gems and moved them herself with time to attend an esoteric knowledge seminar. I didn't know I loved collecting stories to bring home. Short, shaggy dog, some almost true. I didn't remember I loved lives with difference and silken ties. First an inaugural gathering with no personal contacts for my own train, needing a local bus toward the airport shuttle. One driver barked, "Wrong line." Couldn't I see that this was a G and I clearly needed an E? Actually, no. I just arrived from ABQ from ORD on a bus for Sunday, a plaza of total strangers. Would they find me strange? Would poems built on an Acer stand proudly next to ones from Mitsubishi? Would everybody have cuter leggings at yoga? Would the ghost of Georgia O'Keeffe rise up and demand a favorite image sketched at the Art Institute of Chicago, or deported back to Iron Skies over Lake Michigan?
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you very much. And you know, I don't like Taylor Swift, but as stupid as it sounds, she did one awesome thing. She happened to have a role in an episode of CSI where she was a young girl and she changed her hair color and she ended up being killed, but it was just like, it was a good acting. I'm like, that was cool. I can give her credit for that. I don't like the music.
It's because you don't like her and she got killed.
No, actually the character was good throughout. It was, I mean, no, it wasn't her death. I mean, it was like, it was this transformation of her and she acted through it, and there was this whole change of her as a teenager. And it was a well done episode, and then I'm just talking stupid. But no, it's not because she was killed. No, that's not right. She's a bit raspy. Thank you, lady.
The cinematography in it.
It's, yeah, there's good, I mean, yeah, they show shots of Nick Stokes like singing from one thing to another, and it would be like 3 months later, and then this would happen, and the weather changed. It was well done. It was a good episode. Why am I talking so much about CSI? Anyway, this also happens to be the beginning of the month, and I produced 2 literary magazines. One, I really like this cover. I don't think John does, but this is the July issue of cc&d magazine. I have found some roadkill of a skunk, and I'm like, that's going to be a cover. And the issue of Down in the Dirt, this is actually the July-August issue. There won't be another one of these until September, but I got these really cool spider webs all over the cover for that. So I thought that I would read a couple pieces from Down in the Dirt, maybe one from cc&d, with my skunk roadkill on the cover. Some of you have heard some of these people because there are some regulars, so I'm going to do from the July-August issue of Down in the Dirt magazine, this poem by Brian Looney called That Heartbeat. I was listening to that heartbeat. I get to thinking about its force and speed, the clenching spasm. I wonder at its health and its wearing muscle. I sleep on my back or side, though I've lain on my chest, feeling it squirm, sending out blood. I hate it working when it's time for rest, pushing itself still. It reminds me of my limits, the cold stops that I've known that I've yet to meet. I think about my heartbeat, especially in the dark, knocking on my insides. I forget all about sleep, and now it's just us two, an unhappy pair. It plies me with questions, keeps me all awake, bugs me with its motion. Sorry, these are all short ones. My darling piano player here should know again. These are, I pull short ones. This one, oh, you know, this is so short, I wouldn't even bother just because it's like 10 words. This is called A Philosophical Question by John Ragusa from this issue of Down in the Dirt. Is torment derived from insanity, or rather, from seeing reality. Where does feeling come from? Are you insane or actually seeing how things are real? This is a poem, which is slightly longer. This, if you'd like to, it's your call. I love the piano. I just figured a 10-word poem is probably too short for a thing. This is called Heated by Jennifer E. Lee. It is this poem. See the size of it. There you go. Called Heated. The anger rises, hot channels of desperation fill me, smoke billows out, reaching, hoping for a resolution, pushes up further, bursting out like a frustrated child who does not get what she wants. Heated to the point of expectancy when damage occurs, irrevocable, unacceptable. Heat. You know, you go out with the camera and running for, getting the roadkill. I'm like, hey, there's a bug in the corner. There's this animal. Want to get it? Find the right angle? I'm going to do one from here. There are a bunch of small pieces, but I'm going to do one poem, and because I thought it was appropriate, I'm doing this. This is by I.B. Rad. I'm sure B's rad. This is called Uncle Sam Gives Liberty the Axe. Poor old uncle's gone and done it again. Axed, statuesque Miss Liberty. Whack! Hack! He's offed an arm. Screech! Slash! She's lost her head. Chop! Plop! Liberty's got doesn't have a leg to stand on. Now arrested through lawsuit. Old uncle's protest. He's the hapless victim who's lost his inalienable freedom to express constitutional proclivities. And now, just because he is so awesome, I'm going to call up my ultra groovy. Oh God, I can't just keep making up. Every time I'm like, let me come up with a different name. Please, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the man who actually wanted to go to Gorilla Tango. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the Bobster himself, Mr. Bob Raskow. Woo!
Right there?
I even got it for you if you wanted to see here. And I think, did you actually want this one that was here? That was the Michael Scarlett?
Corey.
Oh, Corey Cook. Where is Corey Cook?
Across from her.
Oh, from mine, oh, from the PM. There it is. Okay. There's some. Just leave that in the front. Along with this. Down there.
Good evening. Attend the Tale of Danny Tanner. No, that's not the name of my first one. That's been extended at Gorilla Tango, 1919 North Milwaukee Avenue through the end of the month. It is on Wednesday nights, so don't go the 18th, because you'll want to be here for Lucia's feature instead. But go the 11th to the 25th, it's at 7:30, and Gorilla Tango's own Dan Abate appears in it, and I'm going to try and see it myself if possible. I'm so glad to have Sally Cooper here tonight to read for us. I can't even remember if I've ever heard her read any of her poetry to me before, because I've known her in a capacity where she was a volunteer coordinator supervising me in reading so many years, with a few exceptions, like when she and I and her friend Heidi would go to Miller's Pub and sing the entire score of Carousel and freak everybody out. But that was when we would have fun. We'd all have fun together. And I've known her for many years, so it's really a pleasure to be able to see and hear her read tonight. And one more thing, Dan, as many of you know, appreciates the sonnet form, and I was going to bring one of my only 2 sonnets, but I forgot to do it. But I think he's heard it before anyway, so maybe next time. Anyway, here's the poetry. This is from Janet Kuypers' very own cc&d for July. It's by Corey Cook, and it's called Mom's First Husband. On nights Joni Mitchell's voice unspooled from the spinning record and Mom slouched in front of the speakers, Dad leaned into the cupboard for SpaghettiOs or Chef Boyardee. On nights, Mom stared at that blue face on the album cover and traced the name Todd, written in unfamiliar block letters in the upper right corner. Dad tucked us into bed without washing faces or brushing teeth. On nights, Mom sobbed, cried out, "I should have stopped him." Dad lifted the needle, slipped the cover from her hands, and led her down the hall as he whispered, "He got drunk. He got on that motorcycle." From the Outlaw Bible of American Poetry, this is by the only William S. Burroughs. It's called Cold Lost Marbles. My ice skates on a wall, luster of stumps washes his lavender horizon. He's got a handsome face of a lousy kid. Rooming houses, dirty fingers whistled in the shadow. Wait for me at the detour. River, snow, someone vague, faded in a mirror. Filigree of trade winds, cold white as lace circling the pepper trees. The film is finished. Memory died when their photos, weather-worn points of polluted water under the trees in the mist, shadow of boys by the daybreak, in the peony fields, cold lost marbles in the room, carnations, 3 ampules of morphine, little blue-eyed twilight, grins between his legs, yellow fingers, blue stars, erect boys of sleep, half-frozen dreams. For I am a teenager, pass it on, flesh and bones withheld too long. Yes, sir, wee-wee. Craps last map lake, a canoe. Rose tornado in the harvest brass echo, tropical cheers from Panama City, night fences, dead fingers, you and your own body around, and maybe a boy's skin spreads to something else on Long Island. The dogs are quiet. Here's a couple of my own. The improv expert. He dances deftly across the stage, gleeful twinkle in his green crystal eyes. His name is Yes, his game is Express, himself in every possible guise. Involved with him, the scene evolves and he affects me and reflects me, glad as a gremlin to have me in the game. His trick leg gets him through the fun, all too aware that I like him some. And when the time comes for class to end, off on his merry twinkly way he wends. The remains of his week to improvise, for a chunk of him I'd gladly paralyze my own fat leg, but that's not in the stars. Sir Yes can't use my calling card. Theater friend he could be, for 11 more weeks of class and his crystal green dance of glee. And the following, my latest, which I just dashed off an hour ago. I'd call it a work in progress, but I'll read it anyway. It's called My Independent Spirit.
Can I borrow your pen?
That's right. I didn't even bring my own pen. I didn't BYOP tonight. My Independent Spirit. Where is it? I can't find My Independent Spirit. There it is. No fireworks, no parades, probably no parties either. So what makes the 4th of July so special? Nothing really. It's every day that I can feel, every day that I can think, every day that I can act without interruption or undue influence, without shame or silly apologetic regret. That's my Independence Day. That's worth a red, blue, and white cupcake, worth a glass of red wine or 2, worth whatever crap I must deal with just to be able to cry out, I am being, I am living. I have found some small treasure in this day, in this very, very day toward independence. Thanks a lot.
Yes, you have. It's your Independence by Darlene Oliver. He took my magazine. I'm just going to bring it back. I can have to read from that later. That's my issue. No, I know. You just know it's fine. Leave it there. I'll get it later. I'm just thinking because I have to figure out what's on the list. But I have to say something. Catherine, I think it's really awesome that you're here, and I really think that this is an awesome week because usually it's like me and one other female. And it's a swarm of men, and I looked and I'm like, I know a lot of people are here just to be able to hear the phenomenal Dan Cleary feature, but, exactly, but there are more women than men reading. I'm like, oh my God, I love her. Please get on up here, my love, Elizabeth, come on. I mean, Catherine, why did I say Elizabeth? Where did that come from? Oh, you're awesome.
Okay, you guys, I'm not real big on the microphone, so I'm going to talk louder in a minute.
Probably don't need a
So
mic.
this is, you know, Sally Cooper, who's been referred to already. She has a poetry circle, and you know, she sometimes suggests a theme or a topic, and then so finally, after a few poetry circles, I said, look, Sally, I'm not really into being prompted, and, you know, like, I can't, like, just, you know, work with a theme with poetry. Like, I'll write about whatever I want, whenever I want it, and she's like, oh, okay, fine. So, after I finally said this thing, you know, I felt really good, and I went home and I wrote 3 of the suggested themes. I finally, like, that was the one time where I did it. Right after I was like, I will not do it! And then I did it. So the theme that time was and something about inanimate objects. So I wrote from perspective of some inanimate objects. So here's one of them. And don't tell them, Sally, and see if you can guess what it is. Okay, Blue's Clues for adults.
All right.
I am the sword that's mightiest of all. I stand in a cup or lay in a drawer. At the bottom of your bag, in a corner on the floor. Behind your ear, inside your pocket, on your kitchen counter. I am everywhere. Alas, I used to be light as a feather, though the years have made me hard as plastic. Disposable, with not a thought of my miraculous ability. I am seen as old, worthless, and worst of all, as commonplace, rather than omnipresent. I used to be a big deal. Machines are making me obsolete. I am something easy to steal, a handy weapon or a tool or a treat. Meditating patiently, I await, for you are my voice. The animator, when you arrive to pick me up, I envision us dancing from twilight till dawn. After all, I only convey what you want me to. I have been present at treaties and proclamations, at national declarations, inaugurations, at immigration, at the doctor's office. I am witness of notations and prescription as well as advertisement, at the DMV, at Social Security. I am in the halls of justice and at a bank robbery. But most of all, I am in the palm of Kazansaki's. Remember me when the power goes out. I'll be in the back of this drawer where the matches for the candles are. Okay, so does anyone know what it is?
This is a poem about a pen.
Right, yeah. Okay, because Joe Rorty, just to mention Joe Rorty, Joe goes, oh, is it a cell phone? From Joe Rorty, of all people. That's all I'm saying. So, here's something from March. Keep alive the dream inside. Do not divulge its contents. For when you tell it, it's as if you sell it, till there's nothing left but a hole of a space that once was filled with beauty, birds, and treasures. Do not tell the inquisitors a thing. Do not betray your beauty through your eyes. Learn how to duck and hide. No more pearls before swine, for they gobble them up without a consideration to the pressure, elements, and time needed to create such jewels. Pain and beauty may go hand in hand, spilling prisons made of tears, spellbinding for all onlookers. Yet it's the odd one that follows that trail. And this is something I just wrote the other day. I don't know, it's just... I like Peter Uspensky's take on the devil. He was Russian, so he grew up with the belief in jinns, little devils that work for the big devil. He ascertains that the devils then turn into substances that we literally ingest so as to delay us from wisdom, love, and peace. For instance, if one is absorbed by a learning, a discovery, a meditation, then the devil literally cannot see one. We are invisible to the devil when we are absorbed by love, nature, wonder, beauty, connection, and invention. I see it as the devil means the dark forces, and that God is the light force. It's like Darth Vader or Obi-Wan Kenobi. Choose a side to be on, intones Lou Reed still. Looking out on Lake Michigan in the sky, I breathe in the expanse and blow it back out through my nose while I luxuriously wiggle my toes, diminishing myself, turning into shimmering blue shades of the treasure I find spread before me. I am the light sparkling on moving water, transparent, glistening, ever new. I shift shapes and angles, traveling great distances. I am the blue of meditation. As the sun presses onward, the moon becomes apparent. Day turns to night. This cobalt is cool, yet acts as a flame, keeping me lit, warm, and right. It's such a wonderful delight to understand what side I am and have been on for this whole time.
Thank you.
So get ready. You ready? You're going to go next. Yeah, when you're ready.
Our next reader is Sally Cooper, and as I mentioned before, I've always known her in a volunteer capacity, although we have socialized together somewhat, and I think we're all going to find out a little more about her cultured literary side tonight. So everybody give it up for Sally Cooper.
I should have brought my stick.
Here's the mic in front of you.
Okay.
For
Okay.
right here, and
Got
I
it.
can't
Got it.
Okay. Sally Cooper.
Okay. Yo, I'm Super Blind Girl, and this is my thing. Using all the blind skills can make your life swing. People will respect you and give you what's due, and everyone will dig just being with you. Just read a line of braille dots out of a book, back and front. You don't have to look. Learn to perceive things with only your ears. Input that info, cast out your fears. So never be ashamed of what you can't do, just delegate those things to other folks who are glad to assist you. They're happy to help. Inspire others in spite of yourself. Realize truly that there is an art to look not with your eyes, but to see with your heart. Peace. I have another one that I need. I usually have a guitar player with me. Can you do blues?
Oh, I can hear it now.
Can you do blues? Yeah.
Here I can do anything.
You can do it.
Like do-do-do-do-do. Okay. I wake up each morning at 4:15. I slap on my uniform. I run out the door. Stand on the corner. Wait in the dark. On a sleazy corner. Lower the clock. In the back of the bus. I'm just trying to revive. I'm putting my face on. I'm coming alive. When I get to the loop, till night. Open up the diner and at sunny and bright, I got blues. The slinging cash blues. It's all that the tip. I got blues. And the people come in. And they bark for their food. And some of the slobs are in a nasty mood. These mornings. With wavy blonde hair, a cleft in his chin. He'll say, hey there, big mama. How about the kids? I'm going to take you away from Molds. Sometimes I feel like I'm working in hell. When I walk in the kitchen and taking the smell like greasy cold burgers, bacon and beer. Come on, somebody, and get me out of here. I got blues, the sling and blues. That tip asshole.
Right there.
That was
Yeah, you talk about odd jobs, well, different jobs. That's all right. I love it. Oh gosh, what woman will I be calling up? Is everybody all in order? Maybe.
Thank you.
I won't read. I think I'll save this all for birthday, I believe. She's got her glasses. She's all psyched to go. Please, ladies and gentlemen, give it for birthday.
Thank you.
I wore my contacts today, and boy, I haven't worn those since I went bifocal, let me tell you. So today, to impress, I wore my contacts, and then I forgot my reading glasses. Fortunately, my husband's reading glasses were in the car, so here we go. First time I'm here, so it's good to be here. I feel sort of safe. I'm going to read, I write mostly about inner landscapes and such, love and spirit and things. This one is called Higher Frequency. I wrote these poems like back when I was vibrating at a higher frequency than today. I sit here on the deck of my summer backyard, watching and feeling the mad dance of every cell in my being. Vibrating at a higher frequency, I feel one step removed from the norm of everyday life experience I left behind only hours ago. And in some ways, I know I will never be the same. I must have had a premonition, and that is why that this was coming to me. The soul knows everything and sends the message which I received without knowing and acted on it unknowingly when I wrote you the note about standing on the threshold. A hidden part of me must have known that the word heartbreak was no longer quite relevant, that it was only a fading entry lingering in the dark recess of my memories. Now that we have connected in spirit, I know beyond the shadow of a doubt that this was meant to be. There are no accidents. There is a great plan for every soul. And sometimes this plan brings two souls together to nourish their hearts, to quench their thirst, and lets them taste the higher mysteries through the mystical connection between each other's souls. Next one is, are you my soulmate? Are you my soulmate, or the grandest illusion of my life, lurking in the darkest part of me, seeking to escape? Are you my true love, or a shadow in the night, searching an opening to enter the world of the living? Are you my friend, or the crafty creation of my mind, seeking to soothe my lonely heart? Are the songs on the radio your way of talking to me, or merely a reflection of my desperate plight, to be heard, to be talked to be honored, to be understood, to be touched, to be loved? To have been so ignored, so unloved in the prison of a false union, a dozen frozen winters, long enough to render any soul delusional, insane, desperate, paranoid, distrustful. It is time to move on. It is time to move on. Past this giant hurt, past the shadow part of life. It is time to acknowledge the truth, that it has long been over, that it never quite started the way it was supposed to, nor will it end in the happily ever after of fairy tales. It is time for the pain to be gone, 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 and forgiveness to take its place, to celebration of soul freedom, a divine birthright. I'll end with a happier one.
Oh, come on, depression. They have different moods, sure. Why not? Depression.
Okay, here's a good one. Go, I am. I am the brook and the gurgle in the heart of the brook. I am the dream and the dreamer and the dream weaver. I am the roar of the waves crashing ashore. I am the sea, I am the wave, I am the shore. I am the throb of the yearning of the lover's heart. I am the yearning, I am the throb, I am the heart. I am the mystic fire rushing forth the lover's gaze. I am the lover, I am the flame, I am the gaze. I am the inspiration and the songs of the heart, the pregnant pause between the notes, between the words, between the songs. I am the notes, I am the words, I am the song.
Awesome. This is so fun and awesome. But yeah, remember all your stuff. That's all right. There are a lot of people that are here that are just listening, which is also double plus awesome. So I just want to confirm, I think I've got my if there's somebody else that wants to be up for the open mic, otherwise I'm giving a man who has gone through a lot, including hosting open mics at restorative locations. I'm really looking forward to hearing what we got from Victoria, Carly, Vito. Come on up here. Hello.
I hate the play song. Punk, skunk, stunk. That's why I swapped it for T.S. Monk. He Davy Jones. Took his last train to Clarksville. House is haunted by fed fishes, shed dishes, said vicious, lying, crying, fighting, soldiering, scary. Richard, Perry, Cuomo, Mario did not run because of all the alleged King mob connections. Grant Morris's son, Jared Baudelaire's dejected their elections. And called the Wild Frontier. Lee Groban reviews of Kid A were initially not positive. Thanks. Okay, this is, well, I think I figure out where it is. The moon rises, the sun sets. It's inevitable that we all get older and frailer day by day. It's nature's way to cycle of decay. Papa Mario fought in Korea, did his part, for his efforts to receive the Purple Heart, and exactly meant the love of his life, to raise 3 children with an Italian wife. He worked at Harvester when he had a good plan. He was a Democratic supporter, pro-union man. He loved to read with his knees, to lie on his knee. He died peacefully while he was watching TV. He survived many relations, and one lady he wed. As long as we remember him, he'll never be dead. Thanks.
Thank you. I have to ask, somebody whom is not reading this evening but is taking lots of pictures. I don't know if they have Facebook and would post them, but I would love to see them or be able to post them up on a page for this evening or something like that. Or if not, email them all to me and I'll post them. You can always go to GinaKuypers@gmail.com for lots of photos, if anybody's willing, because I would love to be able to show the world all the cool photos as well as video. I am going to close this off because you're here. I'm like, let me see how many poems I can find. And we've got a little time, so I'm going to do this one. I've got 3 poems. All of them don't relate to anything at all to each other. Nothing. This one is about, I guess the title, especially if I say it this way, will give you, it's called The One You Always Loved. What if you and the one person you always loved, the one person you would always have a place in your heart for, the one that was your mentor, the one that was your first love, the one you always feel a twinge of pain whenever thinking about, the one that was always your soulmate, the one you thought of as the one that got away, the one person that you have regrets over leaving. What if the two of you were friends and you thought that he was still your soulmate and you didn't know what your future entailed and you wanted to see him because he was your teacher and you always love him and you don't know what you're hoping for and you're definitely hoping for something. And then you talk to him, and he says, it would be great to see you. And then he drops a bomb that he has a girlfriend. And then he says that he's been going out with her for over a year. And I know it's retarded, but you've never met anyone like him. And you don't know what else to hope for. What do you do then? Thank you. Anyway, nothing is related to anything here, but this is more. I guess this is kind of like a sad romantic thing. It's called The Passion. Haven't seen him in nearly a week. He just came back from another country, and he walked in to where I work, and he came up to me and kissed me. And yeah, that's great. He came and kissed me, but it wasn't passionate. And I learned it then. That's when I realized the passion was gone, and I didn't know how to get it back. they're just thoughts pieces. They don't relate to anything. This one's really short. I have no idea if this one could have...
Oh, right. He can read it and decide, because it's just that short. Do you want to do any music for it? You know, I always try to get something like...
If it can relate to astronomy, I guess, is what I did with them. This is really, really short. It's called Ever Expanding Spaces.
It can relate to it.
Astronomy, because it mentions the universe and theories of... I can't sleep. The universe is always expanding. So I have to keep working to fill in the ever-expanding spaces. Yes, please. You may speak. What? What, Angel?
Can I sing one song?
Oh, my...
Self-introduction. Get on up here.
You gotta sing.
Yeah, this is going to be singing time, but hopefully, I don't know why I'm with the feature, but get on up here, my love.
Yeah, you're doing your whole introduction. You're saying, get on up here.
Janet, I should only have your problems.
What? The fill in the ever-expanding spaces?
Yeah, not
What?
to be able to sleep.
So sing something like you're doing. I will.
Hi,
That's great.
I'm Lynn West, and I like to sing. And since this is cafe cabaret, if I could sing cabaret, that would be very nice.
And first,
there's a
because we
key.
didn't give it up for, come on up here. I used to do something intro, I didn't give you,
Pardon?
I didn't get you a plug thing that said,
Oh, okay.
You're awesome.
Actually, Gabber, the song.
The song, yeah.
I don't know if I, you know,
Oh.
I'm good at like just,
All right. Yeah.
what? So long since I played Gabber.
All right, so what good is sitting alone in your room? Come hear the music play. Life is a cabaret, old chum. Come to the cabaret. Go on and put down. Come taste the wine. Come hear the band. Come blow your heart. Start celebrating. Right this way over tables waiting. No use promoting some prophet of doom.
sing tonight. That was awesome. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that was awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you got 5 minutes. I swore 5 before you got a phenomenal feature from Mr. Dan Clear. So please fill your drink, and we'll see you back here in just like a few minutes. Thank you.